Hi, this is Merrill Jenks with the Big Helper Real Estate Group, and I'm coming at you with some facts and some data, some really helpful information to help you digest and understand what's actually going on in the market and how coronavirus is impacting the housing market and what we expect to see in the future. Obviously, we don't have a crystal ball; nobody does, and a lot of it depends on how long this lasts, but a lot of people are, very fearful right now, and so I'm hoping to bring you some, helpful information to help you better understand where we are at with the housing market in the Phoenix area specifically, and hopefully settle some of your fears and kind of help you understand what we're heading into. See, a lot of people, I think, right now have the feeling that what we're heading into is going to be 2008 through 2011 all over again. And that we're about to see, home values just, absolutely decimated and plummet. And again, I don't have a crystal ball, but we really, really don't believe that is going to be happening. We think that this is probably going to be more similar to what happened with the housing market, September 11th, 2001. What's going on right now is horrible and tragic, just like it was, on September 11th. And, there's obviously lots of really great stories of people coming together and sharing. And, there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of stuff going on. And we're absolutely going to see a slowdown and a pause in the market. But there are some huge parallels, some big critically important differences between what's happening in our housing market right now compared to what was happening in our housing market at the end of 2007, beginning of 2008. And I'm wanting to draw your attention to some of those differences and hopefully help you understand, hey, these are the reasons why I don't think we're about to see home values just absolutely plummet and cut in half. So the first reason is mortgage standards. You probably know that back then you could be, scooping popcorn at a movie theater and go buy a $500,000 house. You could do all sorts of crazy subprime type loans. You could go in and do stated income, no loan docs, interest only, negative amortization loans with balloon payments, loans where, the amount of equity you have in your home each month actually shrinks. And, no one really had to prove anything, and interest rates were much higher, in the sixes for the most part. And a lot of people were doing adjustable rate mortgages and, all sorts of basically irresponsible lending. Appraisals were significantly underregulated at that time. Lenders and real estate agents would have their favorite appraiser and take them out for wine and steak dinners and, try to make sure they got the values that they needed. So there is a significantly higher level of responsible lending and appraising going on now. First of all, we don't really even get to talk to the appraisers anymore, and we don't get to have a relationship with one specific appraiser anymore. Appraisers are assigned for us, and there is no subprime lending. There is still money available, and you can still get loans, and interest rates are actually really good, but you have to prove everything that you make, and it's all going to be questioned, and you have to show documentation regarding pretty much every shred of income and debt that you have. I always jokingly tell people, be prepared to share your dental records and retina scan in order to get a loan. It's not really that bad. Of course, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you do absolutely have to prove what you make. You can't just say it. And then everyone is getting 30-year fixed rate mortgages for the most part. Very rarely am I seeing people do anything outside of that because the interest rates are so good. No one is doing interest-only loans. No one is doing balloon payment loans. No one is doing, there were loans that you could get back then that would actually let you borrow more than the value of the house to 120% of the value of the house. Nothing like that is going on. The most you can ever possibly borrow on the value of a home is 100%, and even that is rare. You would either have to be a VA loan or a USDA loan. Most people are putting at least 3% down on a house. Number two, prices are not soaring out of control. There's kind of this perception that, oh my gosh, home values are just out of control. They're just skyrocketing. It's 2006 all over again. And that is absolutely not the case. If you look kind of historically, nationally, home values were rising for several years leading up to 2006 and 2007. Home values were rising in the double digits every single year. Home values up 12%, 13%, 14%, versus the last couple of years. Nationally, home values are only up, an average of about 5% a year. And then when you consider that some of that is inflation, again, we're really not seeing any crazy home value increases going on right now. Number 3 is that we do not have a massive surplus of homes on the market right now. In 2006 and 2007, we started to see inventory go up. We had a month's supply of inventory in the neighborhood of like 8 months. Right now, we still have an extreme shortage of homes available for sale. In the Phoenix metro area and in our MLS, the total number of active listings, and of course it fluctuates every day, almost every second, but it's floating somewhere between 11 and 12,000 active listings, which is an incredibly low number of properties available for sale when you consider the size of the population of the area. And when you consider that in the past 30 days, about 9,000 homes have sold. So that means we've had a month's supply of inventory of only 1.3. Now, certainly, we do expect that number to go up with everything that's going on with coronavirus, but we could easily afford to double, almost triple the number of homes that are available for sale without even transitioning into a buyer's market, just simply because there are so much pent-up demand. Believe it or not, even over this past week of craziness, everything's shut down, and other states and cities are even going into quarantine, and obviously bars and restaurants and gyms and everything is getting shut down. And in this past week in our MLS, we've still seen 5,700 homes go under contract, and we are personally working with buyers who are still competing with multiple offers on a ton of properties. So yes, there are absolutely people who are putting their home search on hold, but guess what? There's also a lot of people who still have to move. There's still a lot of people who are in a situation, that they were already selling their home and they've still got to buy a new one, or their lease is still up and they still wanted to buy and they've got their down payment ready to go, and hey, you know what? Let's lock in this fantastic interest rate that we can get right now. There's still a lot of people who are looking to buy a home right now. Next one is affordability, and this is one that I hear a lot. A lot of people think that homes are getting to the point where they're just not affordable anymore, and the affordability index points to the fact that we just can't possibly, home values can't go up because they're not affordable compared to how much people make. In 2006, if you were made a median income and you wanted to buy the median priced home, it was going to take 25% of your income to be able to make the payments on that home, household income. Today, median household buying a median home only takes 15% of their income. So, and that's primarily due to interest rates. With interest rates being as low as they are, affordability is actually really, really good right now. Lastly, the last kind of big difference that I would draw your attention to between now and 2008 is that people have a massive amount of equity in their homes. The over 50% of homeowners in the United States have at least 50% equity in their homes. And that is a huge number, possibly the highest that it has ever been. In 2006, there were people pulled out $321 billion in cash out refinances from their homes in 2006. In 2019, people only pulled out $74 billion. So, I didn't do the math on that, but a fifth, a sixth, somewhere in that neighborhood of what people were pulling out then compared to what people are pulling out now. People are not using their homes as ATMs and using them to go out and buy all sorts of, boats or cars or planes and trains and whatever it is. For the most part, people are being responsible with the equity that they have in their homes, and not over leveraging. As we all know, especially if you were in the Phoenix area during that time, there were a lot of people who lost their homes because they lost their jobs and couldn't afford to make the payments anymore, and it was terrible. But there were also a lot of people who just strategically walked away from their home. They saw how upside down they were in it, and they were mad about it, and so they just chose to walk away. No judgment here. I'm just, stating the facts of what happened. They saw they were massively upside down in their home because they had over leveraged it. They had borrowed 103% of what it was worth, and then the value of it plummeted, and now their neighbor's home sold for half what they owed on their current home. And they said, why am I making this huge payment when I can go buy the neighbor's house for half price, and it's the same house? And so people started walking away from their homes, and so you had people who were legitimately losing their homes, and then you had people who were just walking away from their homes, and it created a snowball effect, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Well, if you have 50% equity in the value of your home, even if values dropped a little bit, you're probably not going to walk away. So I don't think it's going to turn into this snowball effect like we saw last time, again, because most people have a massive amount of equity. Home values would have to drop by over 60% before people suddenly felt like they were upside down in their homes on average. So there's a lot of big differences between the market now and what the market was like in 2008. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but it's certainly my sense that we're in a situation similar to September 11th, 2001, that we're going to bounce back from this soon, and we're going to come out stronger than ever, and that the housing market is going to be just fine. I had earlier predicted that home values in the Phoenix area were probably going to increase by about 10% this year. I'm modifying that, obviously, with this big change. I wouldn't be surprised if home values remained about stable and steady. Probably not going to see a big increase, but based on what we're seeing so far, I do not believe that we're going to see a big drop in home values. I hope you found this information helpful, and I'm more than happy to answer any specific questions that you have or give you even further information. So please feel free to reach out, and we can have a deeper conversation about this, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.